Hey, what's up, guys? It's Nick from Arch City Poker and ArchCityPLO.com. As you can see, I am essentially, well, I wouldn't call this live streaming, but I don't know, playing live. I guess it's kind of a live stream. I've been giving you guys a bunch of short, like hand history reviews, couple like theory vlog type of things or type of videos, I guess. Recently, wanted to mix it up a little bit, give you a dynamic live that we talk about a lot, the live low stakes dynamic. Now, obviously, this isn't a live poker like, in a private club, casino, home game, but full ring, 2 cent, 5 cent, I think is going to be the closest thing I can give you guys. And we are four tabling. Bottom right here, I am going to pot it. I'm pretty much going to pot it at these stakes to combat rake. So that's why I'm raising as large as I am. But I'm going to try to keep up with all four tables. It should be a little easier being full ring. I haven't done this in a long time, to be honest. When I was making videos for Run It Once, it was recorded and like edited type of stuff. But I think this is a cool dynamic because you get to see how I think during the hand. And kind of see stuff like the flow of the game. Down here, should have a pretty good range advantage versus a limp caller. 6 deuce deuce really shouldn't hit his range that hard. 10 of spades is a decent blocker as far as blocking some of his continues, but down here we got another limp. Go ahead and pot it over the limper. I think in a single raise pot I can go half pot. I can even go a little bit smaller than this. I think we will go a little smaller. Oh, he did actually lead. Okay. So he leads about half pot. Yeah, I actually am going to raise. He really should not have a lot of deuce X in his range. Down here, we get led into for pot. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and put in a pot size raise ourselves. He shouldn't really have, yeah, I knew he'd probably take this down. I mean, we have the polarity advantage here. He probably would 3-bet a lot of his better combos. Yeah. So, I mean, he probably would 3-bet pocket queens, pocket aces. He's going to have a lot of that and then combo draw stuff. So we're in really good shape there to get it in, obviously. And I mean, it's obviously pretty easy to say that with top two, but I think a lot of players will be like, well, he led into me for pot. He probably has a pretty strong hand. I mean, that was a decent hand, but if you're in his shoes, you really shouldn't be leading in that spot simply because you don't have the range advantage. You do not rep, ace king plus in that spot, even ace jack plus. Ace 10 is pretty much what he's capped to there, so he's giving you a, a good little tutorial as far as what not to do in that spot. Facing the limper, ace deuce off is going to be a little bit too weak. A lot of you guys would over limp here. That's going to be a mistake. It's not going to play well enough multi-way. We're also paying rake at that point. That's what we're trying to avoid. Top left, got to go ahead and obviously open ace king off. In what looks like middle position. Got to fold 10-8 off down here, bottom right, big blind. Not going to be strong enough to defend with. All right, get called by the player in position here. Could probably do some c-betting. I'll probably do a fair amount of checking out of position, though. Do have decent showdown value with ace-king. It's fine to check call in that spot. I think in a lower stakes population like this, they may be cold calling kind of wide to where I probably could consider c-betting. He does size up a little bit. Still think this fits in at some kind of frequency, probably even close to all the time. Yeah, I'll go ahead and check again. I think in theory there's actually some calls again here, but against this population, when he goes ahead and double barrels for pot here, it's pretty close. I'll probably just let it go, though. 7-8 suited in the hijack against the limper. It's going to be slightly loose, I would say, but it's all right. For the sake of keeping the video entertaining, I'll play some of the borderline ones for you guys. This will be a little bit too loose. Ace-9 off in middle position. Okay, so call here, squeeze by the big blind. I would suspect that the cutoff's going to come along quite a bit, probably getting decent pot odds here. It's going to be, I think, slightly loose again, but like I said, for the sake of a little bit of entertainment and the fact that I think we're getting this player to call as well, I would imagine him calling, so it's kind of like, I don't know, you'd call it implied pot odds in a way, but don't think I should probably be doing too much leading here, but I believe I've flopped enough hand to continue. There could be some check raises with this type of combo. Go ahead and fold. Yeah, we're going to shove on him, I think. It applies a lot of pressure on this player. I think he misses this enough. Obviously, he's not missed this time. Not at all, but gets super lucky. A little bit loose there, but you know, I think on like 10-7-4, he misses quite a bit. And to play tough in those spots, like we can't just call 3-bets to play like ABC poker. We're going to have to apply some pressure in some spots, and 10-7-4 is just not a range he hits that hard. If he has the overpair in that spot, then so be it. But if I'm going to play 8-7 suited pre-flop like that, and I get that kind of flop, then I need to apply some pressure in spots like that. And the thing is that, let's see if this new hand replayer on Ignition works. The thing is with those like middle pairs is that they don't really have great showdown value multi-way. So they actually work pretty well as like semi-bluffs, and that's why I decided to check shove it. Even if I do get called, I have some equity to fall back on in the form of trips, 2 pairs outs, backdoor straight, backdoor spades. I don't really love this replayer, to be honest, but I think you guys get the idea. Easy fold up there, easy fold down here. So yeah, but I mean, I obviously get lucky. He does have the overpair, that's fine, and that's kind of, you know, that's kind of part of the point too, guys, is that for a lot of you guys that are afraid to make plays like that because you're fearing that your opponent does have overpairs, and you know, maybe in the live low stakes games when they 3-bet, you know, if you can label your population as being like just way too like ace-ace and ace-ace and like king-king heavy, then obviously that's not going to be a good play. Now, part of why I made the play here is that in the online games, they play a little bit looser. I think they're capable of squeezing much wider than what you normally see like in a live low stakes game. So I think I can get away with attacking a little bit more in spots like that. Raise out of the small blind after a limp on the button. 10-9 off is going to be a little bit too loose, especially when I suspect this player to call. I don't really want to be sandwiched in between these guys with a weak hand. So I do go ahead and fold. This is pretty borderline. Essentially, this would be like a 6-max game opening under the gun. This is pretty iffy. I think it's actually a fold in theory, but like I said, we're going to make some borderline plays just for the sake of entertainment here. But I'll let you know when I think it is probably a little bit outside of the realm of what's supposed to be happening. I probably would say a little bit of king-jack off. Definitely some jack offsuit there. All right, couple hands at the same time. Kings under the gun over here. Small blind flatting range should be pretty strong in these stakes. It's probably gonna be a little bit wider than usual. I think I'm probably going to bet these ace high textures at a very high frequency just because I do have the range and polarity advantage here in position. Actually gonna overbet a little bit. Because I can do that on this texture. Fold up here. Check back on the ace turn. It's usually not the greatest card to barrel with, especially when I don't block diamonds or spades. Bet's half pot now. That seems kind of value heavy. Of course, I have rivered a jack, but it's hard for me to imagine him really bluffing in this spot. I think a lot of his flats have come in on the river with his diamonds. If he did have ace X, but I don't think I'm really getting him off of ace X in this spot. I don't think there's a ton of draws to begin with. I am just going to go ahead and actually let this go as more of an exploit. I think I need to do some calling there in theory, but I think I can overfold to this population in that spot. The reason I overbet with my kings over here is that it's a texture that I just simply have a pretty good range advantage on against those two, and unblocking top pair, I can get max value, apply max pressure in that spot. So I do like to add some slightly over pot size bets in spots like that. Queen 4 offsuit is going to be just a little bit too loose. But yeah, so that's kind of why I did the overbet over there. The table's being weird. Yeah, so definitely some interesting hands so far. This would be a common type of hand that players would play way too frequently out of the small blind, especially versus an early position raise like this. Can't play just a set mine, like I said. It goes back to that 8-7 suited hand when we have some speculative hands like that, and we think there might be implied odds. It might be pretty close. We can't play ABC poker in a lot of spots like this, so even if I suspect these guys to call, it's still very borderline, but I don't want to call face like a squeeze. It's just not going to play very well from out of position. I am going to go ahead and actually fold. I think if he was as deep as I was, I would consider it, just because there could be a lot of implied odds there, but it's just not going to play that well from out of position. I was thinking that I was going to flop a 5 just because it's like a live stream and that kind of shit seems to happen, so. But yeah, definitely some interesting hands so far. I kind of like this format. Might give you guys one of these every, I don't know, not every week, maybe bi-weekly. I'm too busy with the site right now and the coaching schedule, but I think you guys would like to see something like this quite a bit, so. And I hope I'm playing well. It's a little later at night. I kind of fired this up on a whim just to see how this would go, but like I said, it's a little bit rusty as far as the live stream goes, but hopefully I'm articulating my thoughts pretty well, and like I said, made a couple looser plays in the beginning for more of the sake of entertainment, but they were close enough and felt like I was making the right plays post-flop, so. Excuse me, guys. I knew I had something in my throat there. Yeah, a few easy folds. Yeah, I was going to say, if it gets folded to me on the button, 10-9 offsuit's the bottom of my opening range, but because there is an open, I'm going to have to go ahead and fold. Seems like I'm getting enough hands in, though, with 4 tables, so that's good. I think 2 tables or even 3 of full rings not going to be quite enough for a live stream. There's no... I don't think there's a zoom option for full ring on Ignition. I know there is for 6 max. Maybe I'll do one of those sometimes. or sometime just to show, but I mean, this is generally what you guys are. I think the majority of my subscribers are really focused on live low stakes. I mean, that's kind of the niche I was going for after a while. It's just helping, a lot of the players that are recreational, just trying to have fun, play 1-2, 2-5, maybe a little 5-10 if you're getting better. Hopefully, my channel is helping you get better. Hopefully, a lot of you guys that have watched it for a while are playing some 2-5 or 5-10 now, because you should be able to. Those games are quite beatable in a lot of rooms. There's a lot of rooms that there's, when you get to 5-10, I don't want to sell that short. You're going to run into some thinking players, some very good players, usually a lot of pros, depending on the city. But a lot of you guys should be able to play some 2-5 though. Queen 9 suited. It's pretty close. The general rule of thumb for me is I'm going to raise against a limper the type of range that I would use the position behind me. Queen 9 suited is about the bottom of my range in the hijack, so I think this is fine. Like I said, for the sake of... Oh, no, that's misclick. Fold. No, that's a misclick. Happens. This is definitely a fold. Okay, good. I was going to say, I might do something ridiculous if he bets small. Queen 4... I mean, I probably could get away with a pretty high check raise frequency on Queen 4 deuce, but this is a horrific hand. We're not going to exaggerate the misclick problem there, so go ahead and fold, but that was definitely a misclick and a mistake. What was I saying before, though? Yeah, you guys should be able to beat 2-5, though. All right, what do we got here? Raise under the gun. King Jack off, so a lot of you guys would play this in the spot. You see a Broadway, offsuit Broadway like this, you feel like it's a pretty strong hand. It's going to be doing very, very poorly against his opening range, so we are going to go ahead and fold. Just really poor visibility. He's going to have this combo dominated with his range a lot. Up here, how the hell am I in this? Okay, so I was the big blind. Yeah, that's why I checked. We'll check here. Yeah, 4 ways. We're just pretty much giving up with this combo. Unless... Nah, there's not really enough turns I could probably start stabbing on. We'll see, though. I do want to show you guys, hopefully I get involved in a spot where I can do some more over betting, maybe some really small betting as well, and explain why I'm doing that, but we'll see here. All right, 6s on the button might be playable. Yeah, definitely fold. Obviously. I haven't played on Ignition in a while. I kind of like the update, actually. I like the new setup with how I can choose the 4-color deck like this. Seems like a lot smoother interface. I know a lot of people were complaining about... Okay, let's see here. 6s. Due to rake, the fact that the cutoff's probably isolating like a weak limper here, I actually am going to go ahead and 3-bet. I don't think it's necessarily a terrible play as a flat, but I just think it's better as a 3-bet against the cutoff here. I like a 3-betting against the wider ranges. If he opened from early position, I think there's just more implied odds to possibly call on the button. We'll go ahead and fold here. So it looks like we get cold 4-bet. This is going to be just about outside of what I think I'm supposed to call with in theory. In practice, this is going to be very strong. I don't think there's enough bluffs in his range here, so even having position, the problem is the SPR is going to be less than 1. I think he's going to be able to shove pretty comfortably. I don't really have positional advantage at that point just due to how low the SPR is, so I am going to go ahead and fold, but I still think the 3-bet is a solid play there against a cutoff opening range. And he actually folded, so that's, it shows you that these guys are capable of making some folding spots like that. Up here, min raise from earlier position, we're just going to go ahead and fold. This is an easy fold down here, obviously, if I can get to the table. For you guys that maybe play a little bit online, or you're newer to playing online, and as far as multi-tabling, some players have trouble with that. I like I guess, process with this is like if that's why it's nice to really understand what you're supposed to be doing pre-flop. Now, like these two decisions were very easy, obviously, but like that king jack offsuit a few hands ago, for example, that might be a hand that players debate about. They start like time banking down, then they all of a sudden start seeing other new hands pop up. I like using that quick fold button when I know I'm going to, and then I try to find a table where it looks like my next hand or possible my next like possible playable hand is going to be. And I just move to that table. I focus on that table. But it's the more you do it, the easier it gets, and especially at full ring, it's not too bad. I've forward tabled and more than forward tabled like heads up before, so it can be quite a bit. I would say if you guys are having trouble with like 4 tables, for example, you're not winning enough, then scale it down to like 3 or 2 tables. That will be a lot better for you guys. But once again, though, this is kind of more trying to show you like as close as I can get to a live low stakes full ring setting. So of course in that dynamic, you're obviously not going to be multi-tabling. Oh, it's pretty late. Now, I don't think this will be super long. I just want to give you guys some hands. Hopefully we get a few more playable hands here in the next, maybe, I don't know, 15 to 20 minutes. We'll see. Well, if I would have caught the beginning of this hand, I could range some opponents. That's a good exercise to do as well. If you guys are playing, like let's say you are in a live low stakes setting, you fold your hand. A lot of people will check their phones or they'll do something else. They just simply won't pay attention. Easy fold with ace-9 offsuit here. I would open this in the cutoff. Raise it on the button versus one limper, but otherwise I'm going to fold it when I am out of position like this. But what I was saying is, if you fold in this spot, so let's go ahead and this is what I'm talking about here. We can do this example. So button opens. The small blind like min 3-bets. That's really strange. He should size up to combat his positional disadvantage. King Queen 8. He's going to have a pretty damn large range advantage on. He has way more like top set, middle set, ace king, top 2 than the player on the button. So he should be doing a lot of c-betting there. Button's going to be pretty wide. He will be doing a lot of folding against that bet in all likelihood. All right, 7-6 suited should be folded from out of position, but like I said, for the sake of entertainment, I'm going to raise. Generally, to get some board coverage, I will have a tighter range here, but I will raise 6-5 suited. That's like the main hand that I use as a little suited connector. I will actually fold 7-6 suited, though. We get called by the button here on King Deuce 3. I should have a pretty big range advantage. I'm actually going to go about quarter pot here. This is where you can use a smaller sizing. Because I have the range advantage, I can do this. All right, so I get 3-bet again. This is why we don't want to open these suited connectors. Heads up this time, I'm going to show you how to make a proper fold. But, whoops, go ahead and fold there. So he did fold over here for that small bet. So the main reason I can make that small bet again is I just have a range advantage. I can bet at a higher frequency. There's not a ton he can do about it. So, he's supposed to attack it a little bit. He's supposed to do quite a lot of defending, but I get thin value with those jacks. I get a little protection against the ace and queen overcards. So it's a pretty good spot to bet small on those like really kind of static textures like that. I could have a large sizing too, but I will tend to use a couple different sizings in that spot. And in a more unbalanced manner, more exploitative manner, I will probably size down with my jacks like that a little more often. Probably size up with my better stuff a little more often because I don't think these guys are going to counter that well. All right, so open on the button, another min raise. This could be the same player. Yeah, I'm just gonna fold. If I had a little bit more here, I could consider cold four betting. Obviously, kind of wish I was in the hand now, but I think that's gonna be the right fold pre-flop for sure. All right, so again, if we're ranging here, he shouldn't really hit 10-7-5 that hard. It's easier knowing kind of where he might be at with the stuff that I block, but another open and a 3-bet. So you can see how the online games play a little more aggressively. You don't see enough of this in the live game. The button will open the, whoops, that'd be cool if I could grab his card. Small blind will flat a lot in your live low stakes games, but this probably looks like the next hand that's coming up. Yeah, just folding the small blind here with Jack 8. It's that could be a hand I'm supposed to play a little bit. I'd have to revisit my small blind opening range since I haven't really been playing. I haven't played No Limit online in a while. So live, I don't really play in the small blind because everybody chops. So I'd have to revisit that a little bit. I'm pretty much only playing PLO online if I play online at all. Or if I play No Limit, I play like Heads Up usually, but nobody wants to play Heads Up ever. So that doesn't really happen. Yeah, 10-6 will be folded. Queen 9 off folded to the hijack open. I'm going to accidentally hit call too many times here. I go to hit that quick fold, and then the action gets on me, so I need to be careful about that. Or careful with that. I don't know. It's late. It's like 1:30, I believe. Yeah. Probably a little bit more here. Try to get a few more hands in. Hopefully something exciting happens. I'd like to get a hand where I like triple barrel it off or over bet all in or pull off some 4-bet or something. Something fun. Deuces, we'll see. Ace-9 off, another. Deuces really, in theory, are not supposed to be open till like the button. I think in practice I can get away with it, especially when this becomes like, this is now like a 6-max game, and I would open all my pairs. So I will go ahead and open them. Ace-9 off, like I said. Not all in, but we are going to open in the cutoff. All right, button calls, not a great scenario. Take down the blinds over here, good scenario. Fold up here. Fold here. Yeah, I mean, I think my really small pairs are going to have to fit into my bluffing range here. I have like some other like some Broadway stuff, but okay, they both call, not the best. But I do think some of my smaller pocket pairs probably do fit in at some kind of frequency. Once they both call, it's just a clear give up spot. Here, shorter stack raises. I'm not going to mess around with him with 5-4 suited. If he's a little deeper, I could consider some 3-bets there certainly, but I don't want to get all in potentially a 5 high or something. They both, so there's a check back. They should be really capped. I don't think I'm going to get credit here. I really want to shove, but he's shorter. I think he might be calling with whatever. Okay, yeah, that's never folding. So yeah, knew where he was at, but he needed to be deeper for me to get him off of it. I don't know if I get him off of it anyway. Almost called again there. That would have been terrible. I didn't see this hand from the beginning, so I'm not going to comment on it, but I mean, if he opened and he just flatted, he's going to have the range advantage. Looks like, yeah, I don't know for sure what happened. Maybe bet flop and then check back turn or something. Not sure. King queen suited's good. We'll take that all day. What is happening? He posts dead. All right, fine. That works just fine for us. Few easy folds here, so we'll focus back on this table. Okay, well, never mind. I was going to say if one of these guys is squeezes, then I will just call in position, use my positional advantage. Don't need to 4-bet for any reason. Kind of boring there. Yeah, and so as far as like if you are card dead in a live low stakes setting, missing some flops, I created a video on that a few years back or a couple years back. I think it's part of the How to Beat Live Low Stakes Poker series. There's like a playlist, and I think it's Being Card Dead and Missed Flops is part of the title. If you struggle with that issue, mainly it's like a patience thing, discipline, check out that video. If I remember correctly, I think I have some good tips in there. I don't know. I haven't looked at a lot of those videos in a while, but yeah, check that out. I know I see that hovering around in my channel, so. All right, fives again. Looks like there's a dead small. I can do some calling out of the big blind, so we'll see what happens. Not gonna be able to call there. No, fold. Fold here. Yeah, so it looks like an early position raise, cutoff call. I am going to be able to defend properly out of the big blind here for 3x, I believe. King, queen, 3 is going to favor the early position raiser's range quite a bit. In theory, this range should be stronger as well, but he will not have top set and middle set, even some top 2 and ace king like he will. So, and I definitely won't. I should not be leading. He can do more of the betting. He can bet a lot larger more often as well. Starts with a check. I don't think players balance that quite well enough in this type of population, so I would take that for what it's worth and think that he probably is pretty capped and a little weaker most often. He probably is going to think that and stab quite a bit. I don't have the type of hand to mess around with here, so I am going to go ahead and fold. But we'll see what he does. If he check calls, I think it's a lot of like Queen X. He could have, he could and should have like some King Jack, King 10, but it's a lot of like Queen X, maybe pocket jacks, pocket 10s. Once he checks back, I don't think he has a ton of like King X plus. He should have some King X. This is an interesting bet. This seems kind of bluffy to me. Not sure enough players value bet Queen X in that spot, even though he should do some betting with like Ace Queen, maybe some Queen Jack. But that felt kind of empty to me. I would have done quite a bit of bluff catching there, I think. My fives might have been good, but I can't do anything about it. It's the power of being in position. King 7, it's going to be a fold. Ace King, we're facing a min raise. Call, we are definitely going to squeeze. Beat the rake. Push value with Ace King. It's definitely the right play in this spot, especially with how the rake is structured. We really should be doing more 3-betting than cold calling anyway, especially if we think these guys are opening a reasonable range. Now, if they're opening a really tight range like they could be in live low stakes, I actually do flat some Ace King, but I really do mostly 3-bet it still. And that's a perfect scenario. We don't pay into rake. We, we collect the dead money in the blinds. That's totally fine. Queen 9 suited, there's potential to play this. We'll have to see what happens, though. Get a limper in middle position. Player decides to try to ISO him. I think this could be, I don't know, for me, this could be like a low frequency 3-bet. Probably fold it most of the time, though, I would say. It just kind of depends on the population. I think if we're a little deeper, I would consider it a little bit more often, but I don't need to go crazy and 3-bet everything on the button there. I think king and ace blockers are a little bit better. And I like to be a little bit more polar in position, meaning like hands kind of at the top of my range and then some good bluffs. That's not a terrible candidate, but I don't need to, like I said, 3-bet everything. Ace Jack offsuit, easy raise. There was some dead money in here, so that's why the raise is a little larger. 9-5 suit, it's going to be a fold on the button no matter what. All right, 8-4-3, a texture that I don't hit hard enough, often enough. It's a dynamic texture, meaning that the current nuts, like usually like top pair types of hands, there's going to be better hands by the river most of the time, is what I'm trying to get at. Ace of Diamonds is a pretty decent blocker. I think with Ace Jack, I can do some c-betting in practice in this type of population. Maybe I should be doing more c-betting if I feel like they're going to open a little wider. But if I do check, he's going to stab quite a bit. This probably needs to be called at some frequency, especially if the Ace of Diamonds. So I do go ahead and call. Now, I don't think he is likely leading a lot of 4x. It's actually not a terrible spot to pull this play off. If I'm called, I still got probably a decent amount of equity to fall back on. Ooh, snap call. Yeah, okay, so that's all right. We run into the nuts, no big deal. I get min 3-bet. Player calls. Not a terrible candidate for a 4-bet against his min raise. I'm going to let it go this time. I think ace 10 suited, I would do some 4-betting there. But yeah, what I was getting at this hand is that with what happened? Okay, so like he's probably not leading, or he's probably not stabbing with like a ton of 4x. And my ace of diamonds blocker does block like some flushes he could have. So, if he does bet there for kind of protection with like 8x hands, any other pairs, that turn card might scare him actually a decent amount. Even if I am called, I usually have equity to fall back on. And I mean, unless he has boats, I'm like, I'm doing fine unless he has boats, essentially. I don't think he has a lot of boats in that spot. So I'd still have the nut flush to fall back on. It's unfortunate that I run into the top of his range, but you just have to think about how the turn card, who picks up the range advantage on that turn card. And maybe I am check calling some flush draws. I probably don't have a lot of 4X, so like really it's not a good example of that. But in practice, I think it's just a card that doesn't hit him often enough to where he's going to be able to defend against that kind of like overbet shove lead properly. So a weird line by me. It's not like the standard play, but I think in practice, plays like that, when you find good spots for it, they can be very profitable. Obviously, that time I run into like pretty much the effective nuts. It happens, but you can't be afraid to make plays like that. It's going to be profitable in the long run, I believe, against this type of population. Oh yeah, I probably should have reloaded down here. Not a big deal. I think I'm actually going to wrap it up anyway. I think the video is running pretty long. We'll see how this goes, guys. Share your comments or thoughts, as always. And I don't know how, I don't know, like, if, I think I'll probably do this again. How often, I don't know. I don't think weekly. Like I said, I'm a little too busy for that right now, but maybe like bi-weekly or something like that. If it's well received, then I don't know, we'll see maybe. But yeah, like I said, if you got any questions or comments, just let me know. Otherwise, I will see you guys in the next video.